Now, we've created some crazy tactics and this one has to be right up there. So, this tactic only has one central defender. I know, crazy, right? Crazy. It's something that you guys have requested once again in the comment section, and this is something that I've had a lot of fun creating. So first off, we've done it at Ajax. We've done 3 different tests. One test at Ajax, one in Ireland, I believe, and another in Finland, some intriguing stuff. So you can see in the Eredivisie with Ajax, we won the league as expected. In the Friendly Cup, we won that, but that's a Friendly Cup. The UEFA Champions League, we got to the round of 16, which is the board expectation, but we played AC Milan. But in the group, we played Olympiacos, expected to beat them. We played Benfica, we didn't beat them, but we played Tottenham twice, a Premier League team, and we smashed them both times. Bear in mind, we're using a tactic with one central defender. But this tactic is a little bit special. We scored the most goals, we had the most shots for, the fewest shots against, the best pass completion, and the most possession. It is a heavy possession-based tactic, and we had the fewest conceded. There are obvious flaws about this tactic, which means that you will probably have to be a very good team to use this tactic, but nonetheless, it's great fun. And what we are going to do now is break down the tactic and look at the results that we got in Ireland and in Finland. As usual, I have a game plan, something that I would recommend each and every time, but let's swipe over to our game plan. We look to create triangles and diamonds when building out to create passing angles for ball progression. The double pivot combines with the central defender to create the central triangle, and the central defender with the pivot player and the fullback create the wider triangles. Fullbacks are responsible for creating width during the build-up phase. The system rotates around the double pivot. The central midfielders are allowed to roam and join the attacks. There is width in the attack, and that allows the central players to attack the channels, with the central striker always looking to play on the shoulder of defenders. We look for half space key passes into the attacker's path that creates some very good chances for our side. We have a box midfield. This is for great ball retention, but also an effective rest defense in central areas when we do lose the ball. And finally, we look to protect the obvious flaws, which is the space between the centre backs and the full backs, and to do that we look to delay the opponents who look to attack down those channels. So that's the game plan. Now let's go into Football Manager and have a look at the tactic. So this is the base formation. I know it looks very crazy, but trust me, it's very fun to play with. In goal, we do have a sweeper keeper on attack, somebody that is comfortable with the ball at his feet, just like the ball playing defender in front of him. The wider players, we have 2 fullbacks on support. They're looking to create the width when we are building out from play. So initially, the build-up stages, fullbacks, even inverted wingbacks actually, now they look to stretch the play initially, and then as play goes on, then you start to see little traits from their player roles. For an example, in inverted wingback, they like to be more narrow and cut inside. So as play progresses, you notice your inverted wingback coming inside more. So the back line, we do have a fullback on support, a ball playing defender, and a sweeper keeper on attack. Now moving on to midfield, I say moving on to midfield, I do still count these double pivot as sort of the defensive unit. So we've got one anchor man. He's literally just going to screen the defensive line, and he's the one reliable protecting this sort of channel here. And then on the other side, we have the halfback, somebody dropping deep to receive the ball. So you could think of it, when we're trying to play out from the back, well, when we're trying to play out from the goalkeeper, we have a ball playing defender here, and then we have a halfback easily just slotting in here, kind of making a back four. You would notice the ball playing defender has the ball, and then these two are the 3 man. If these two are marked out, then a central midfielder will drop to receive the ball, looking for that 3 man, and that helps us progress up the pitch. Also passing triangles as well. You can see a natural triangle here with the ball playing defender, defensive midfielder, the fullback, a natural triangle on the left side, and then obviously the natural triangle between the central defender and the 2 double pivots. So that's the shape there. We have an anchor man protecting and screening this area here, and then we have a halfback dropping deep, sort of the aggressive central defender. Moving on to midfield now, because there's 3 different versions of this tactic, this role slightly changes. So there's versions where he's a deep line playmaker on support, trying to really capture that drop deep to receive the ball, or majority of the times I just left it on central midfielder, because I also want my central midfielders to join the attack and sort of cover this zone 14 area where we can be dangerous, but also in the wider areas where we want to create those key passes. Creating in the wider areas can be extremely effective, especially for the advanced forward running off the central defenders. The central midfielder then has get further forward and move into the channels so he can join the attacking line. Obviously, the Mezzala in that half space, he's going to be operating in that half space naturally. That's his role, that's his duty. Well, his duty is to attack. This is where take more risk comes in, and then he can play those defensive splitting passes. Now, on the flanks, we have a winger on support, the supportive player just looking to hold the width in the attacking third. So now think about where in the final third, how we going to create. I want the winger to stretch the pitch. He's going to hold his shape out wide. Then you have the Mezzala attacking the space that he's created on the other side. And then on the right hand side, we've got some unpredictability, not the exact same movements on both flanks. On the right hand side, initially the inverted winger, just like the fullbacks, they will look to stay wide. As play progresses, then you start to see the traits. The inverted winger is more likely to come inside. The central midfielder will join the attack as well. So you kind of create this central overload. The fullback will pick his moments to overlap the winger as well. And lastly, up top, we have that advanced forward, always operating on the last line of the opposition's defense. So that's the player roles. So here is an obvious flaw about the tactics. So here is the opponent attacking us, and you can see we've got a space here, we've got a space here. Even though the fullbacks are very, very narrow, they just couldn't get there in time to stop this attacker running in the channel and then bang, goal. That is obviously one of the biggest flaws about the tactic, but that doesn't happen very often. As you see with Ajax, we conceded the fewest, and you will see a little bit later as well where we have conceded the fewest amount of goals. And this is how we can also stop the opponent from counter-attacking us. So here we're going to have the ball, we're going to lose the ball here, and the opponent has the opportunity to go on a counter-attack, and we have to delay. So we're going to counter-press to delay the opponents from being able to attack this channel. So if this player had the ball and we didn't approach that player immediately, he could have attacked this channel right here and gone straight through on goal. But because we want to counter-press and delay the opponents, we were able to win the ball back, and then we was actually able to go on an attack ourselves and bury it with a nice finish. This clip is to show how we build up with that one central defender. So the one central defender plays it out wide to the fullback, and then the fullback can just progress. So we are looking to progress in the wider areas a lot. You will see that with the attacking width will be on wide, and you can see how the play, the slow, the patient build up, not forcing anything, and then you're going to see some moments of brilliance. It's going to come. It's going to come. There we are. That pass there is a brilliant pass. It sets off in the opponent's box, and we can score a lovely goal. This clip is to show actually how effective using that one central defender can be, because we can recycle the possession a lot to him. So if we have no forward options as we have here, we could just pass it back to that one central defender. That one central defender then can hold on to play, look for a pass ahead of him, and then we can go on the attack again. So we don't have to continuously look for that pass forward. Actually, we can make that pass backwards and recycle play. And lastly, what I wanted to show you, because I mentioned the double pivots. If they're being marked or we can't play a pass to them, then we have that central midfielder dropping to receive, basically always a free man for us. So we're going to play it. The central defender, that one central defender, well, the double pivot is kind of marked out. You can't play it to any of the players in the double pivot, but we have a central midfielder dropping to receive, and now actually it looks like we have 3 players in that defensive midfield area, but he's just dropped to receive the ball. That allows us to progress. We go on the attack, and then bang, we score a lovely goal. Now for the very important team instructions: attacking width wide, like I did mention earlier, but there will be a different version where it's narrow, which I used towards the end of the season in my Finland test. This tactic is basically based off the Finland test, where I felt the tactic was at its strongest. I did have a version at Ajax, which is not going to be the complete version that we're going to see, because I made tweaks in Finland, which I felt just made the tactic better overall. So we have the attacking width on fairly wide, approach play out from the back, passing directness all the way to much shorter, the tempo on slightly higher. We're looking to retain the possession. We're also going to run at the defense. This just allows us to progress with the ball, bring the ball forward. We don't really have natural dribblers with the ball, apart from the winger on support, the inverted winger on the right hand side on attack. Those are the 2 players dribbling more. Usually in tactics you would have a wing back. The wing back would also help you with the dribbles, but we don't have a wing back, so we're just going to have run at the defense, and that's just going to increase the dribbling numbers. In the final third, low crosses and work the ball into the box. In transition, when we've lost the ball, we are going to counter press, try and delay the opposition like we saw in the clip. And then when we've won the ball, actually we're going to hold our shape because we've got a crazy shape. We know the formation is crazy. We know the formation has obvious flaws. Why expose that? We're actually just going to hold our shape. If we hover over it, hold shape will ask the players to adopt a more considered and patient approach. We want to be patient, keeping the ball and retaining their formation before them building an attack. We don't want to straight away build an attack and then leave the back exposed because the opponents can go on their counter attack and then expose us. And when distributing the ball, we're looking to roll it out and distribute it to the centre backs. Lastly, out of possession, a high press. I felt like this was absolutely needed, especially in this tactic. We don't want to allow pressure. Allowing pressure is kind of the opposite way that we want to go. So if we're sitting back, even in the mid press, say we're sitting back in the mid press, we're allowing the opposition to build up, then we're allowing the opposition to also find spaces to exploit in between the centre back and the full back, which is what we don't want. So actually we do want to break our shape off the ball to try and win the ball back, to try and stop the opponent. Again, it's all about delaying the opponent. Now to further delay the opponent, you can stay on your feet, not just dive in all the time. But I actually left this. There was moments where I used it, there was moments where I didn't, and you kind of get a feel of the game when you are playing. So that's the tactic wrapped up. We do have a wide version. We also have a narrow version, the exact same, apart from the attack and width now is set to fairly narrow. When I used this in the Finland test was actually towards the end of the season. So in Finland, the league splits and then you go into a championship group. I felt that we were getting leggy. We had European games because we had to qualify for Europe as well. So we had European games, we had the league, and the legs were just getting leggy. So I felt actually attacking width on narrow allowed us to keep the ball better, but also the trigger press, I actually just put it down into the middle, and that also allowed us to get results because players obviously weren't working as hard. And then we have a cautious version where we are now using a deep line playmaker because he's going to hold his shape in midfield, and yeah, the mentality is on cautious, which is what I used against teams like Tottenham, and then you will see in the other tests as well. So let's look at the results in the other tests before closing the video. I did mention in the intro that you should be a good team because obviously that makes sense using this tactic. So we used it at Ajax, expected to win the league. Now in Finland, HJK are clear favourites to win the league. The team that I took control of is called Coops, I believe. We are 12-1 to win the league. So we're still kind of the second best team in the league, but we still have a team ahead of us who are the clear favourites. So we are expected to do well, and well, we did. Well, we did. In the league, we played 27, we won 21, we drew 4. Those 4 games, well, it's not showing all 4, and we've lost 2. Those 2 losses, 1 at home and 1 away. Looking at the team stats, we scored the most goals, we had the fewest shots against. The average possession, we come in second. For the best pass completion, again, we come in second, just 1% behind Honka. Looking at the most tackles, well, we don't care about tackles. Dribbles made, it is us, and for the fewest conceded, it is us again. The top goal scorer, our striker, he had the most shots for, he had the most man of the match awards. We also had the 2 players with the most dribbles and the goalkeeper with the fewest conceded. But I want to show you some results because in the Conference League, we played FC Basel, and you can see here the likely outcome with the fans. 52% of the fans are saying Basel, but you can see in the media as well, Swiss side Basel are clear favourites in this home encounter, but we still have to make sure they do a professional job. So they are clear favourites, but what happened in both legs? They lost the first one 1-0, thank you to that striker. They also lost the second leg, again 1-0, thanks to that striker. To be fair, we had 1 shot on target and we scored that. They had 7 and our goalkeeper got man of the match, but it doesn't matter, we still won the game. It doesn't just end there as well. We played Sparta Prague, again, the exact same inbox that came through. This time, Sparta had better odds than Basel to beat us. But what happened when we played Sparta? We smashed them 3-0 away from home. I believe the second leg was 4-3 or 3-2. It doesn't matter. We knocked that Sparta Prague to qualify for the Conference League. Then once we reached the Conference League, we got handed a very tough group. So I would say this performance was it's respectable. So we got a 2-2 draw at Villarreal, which is a very, very good draw at home. Sorry, we lost away in this game, which we shouldn't have. We absolutely battered this team and we lost to an own goal. We lost 2-0 away from home. Truth be told, we got absolutely smashed. We lost 1-0 at home as well. Again, truth be told, we got absolutely smashed. But then we walked over that team again in the second time we played them. So we did manage to get a win in the Europa League conference, and we still got a game to play. But let's be honest, we will get smashed in that game, and we are 4 points behind them, so we cannot catch them. That's the Villarreal results. Now we're going to go to Ireland, Republic of Ireland, to be clear, to look at the results that we got with Shamrock Rovers. Shamrock Rovers, another team expected to win the league, and boy did we win the league by 20 points. We got knocked out in the Champions League in the qualifying thing, but you can see with the performance, the board are very, very happy with our performance because we still won some qualifying rounds, and well, they're 70% happy. In the Europa League, we finished third, very, very harsh, as we finished on the same points as Olympiacos. So again, it's performing well in Europe. We've got 3 wins, I believe, out of the 6 using a tactic with 1 central defender, and we are Shamrock Rovers, the worst team in the group. And in the Conference League, that hasn't been drawn yet because of how well the timing of this league. So we scored the most goals, we had the most shots for, the best possession this time, with the best pass completion. We come in second, we completed the most dribbles and the best defense, almost identical to the previous 2 results. Now looking at the player stats, we had the top goal scorer, similar to the previous results. Look at the assists, we have about 6 players here, 5 players, insane. And yeah, you can see here we just dominated. We absolutely dominated. So before I close this video, just like many of my tactics, they're not the perfect Football Manager tactic. It's more so a perfect tactic for a team. So it's not necessarily a tactic that's going to suit every single team and be the perfect tactic, but it can be perfect for certain teams like Ajax. And you can see flaws here, like I'm literally showing you a 6-1 loss to show you actually the tactic, of course, has flaws. And when I'm doing these tests, I do suffer from heavy defeats. We lost 6-1, we lost 3-1, we lost 3-1 to Olympiacos, we lost 2-1. Sometimes when you do lose, it tends to be a big loss as well. We lost to Malmo even as well. So we do lose a fair share of games, but we win the majority of the games, and we win playing good football, which is the main objective of this tactic. So I hope you guys have enjoyed this video. If you haven't yet, make sure you are subscribed, make sure you have your notification bells turned on, like this video, as that really helps these videos as well. And in the comment section, you can keep coming with these requests. So I'll see you guys soon. Shout out to my Patreons. I'll see you guys soon. Shout out to my Patreons. I'll see you guys. I'm joking. See you guys soon. Peace out. God bless.